Welcome to Little Big Thumbs, where we share our love of board games for big players, little players, and sometimes both. My name is JP, aka Big Papa Thumbs, and in today's video we are going to be looking at Grease Lightning from WizKids. This is a racing game on some wickedly wild waters, and players need to not only survive the waves of the game, but also some hungry hydra and some fitful gods. The game only takes about 45 minutes to play, so I think we should also be quick about it and dive right in to take a look at the table. The game board is made up of these uniquely shaped tiles, which combine to make a swirling circle. The tiles have various tracks for making our way around the board, with a number of icons that will either help or hinder us along the way. Players start the game with 2 ships, a wake token, a player dashboard, one of the Favor of the Gods cards, 2 fish tokens, and these 3 dice, one of which is called the navigation die, and the other 2 are called movement dice. We'll be placing our wake token and one of the ships onto the starting tile of the board, and the other ship will go onto a sideboard for tracking our laps. The starting player receives the golden fleece tile, and each round this tile will go to whichever player is in last place. Unlike many games, this golden fleece tile plays an important role in the game, which we'll get to in just a moment. The first player to complete 2 laps around the Grease Lightning board will be the winner, and if 2 players cross the finish line on the same round, the ship that travels the furthest will claim the victory. Movement around this swirling sea is driven by these 3 dice. To start a round, all players will roll their navigation die, which will either be a 1, 2, or 3. The player that holds the golden fleece tile gets to double this number for their movement, which is a huge first player bonus. If you're unhappy with your navigation roll, just spend a fish to re-roll that die. All players then roll their first movement die. Fish cannot be spent to re-roll this one. At this point, players will need to choose whether they're going to keep those first 2 dice, adding them together to make up their movement total, or take the risk of rolling that 3rd die. If you choose to roll the second movement die and the result is equal to or higher than the first movement die, you're all good. Add together those 3 numbers and that's how far you'll move on your turn. However, if the second movement die is lower than the first, the gods have turned their backs on you and you lose both of your movement dice. Your movement then is only the value of your single navigation die. However, you can spend a fish to re-roll that second movement die. So, as long as you have 1 fishy fish in your back pocket, there is a chance you'll survive the worst of the rolling disasters. This way of managing movement in the game is so simple, but it adds so much tension and just pure fun to the experience. Now that players have rolled their dice, it's time to move those Grease Lightning ships. Each player must use their full movement value, even if it is not to their advantage. Following the dotted paths on the board, a ship will move clockwise along these paths with the potential of encountering 4 different events, but we'll get to those in a moment. Players will also encounter intersections along the way, some of which are a simple choice of which path to continue along, and others provide a restriction or obstacle which might make for a bumpy ride. Landing on or passing a space with a fish icon will, surprise, surprise, earn you a fish token. You can only hold 3 fish at a time, so don't spend them all in one place. Those fish are going to be important because if you come across a hydra space, it will cost 1 fish to pass and continue moving. If you don't have fish to feed the hydra, your turn ends right there and all of your remaining movement points are lost. If you pass through this wedge icon, you will draw a new tile to place at the beginning of your next turn. Players can only hold 1 tile at a time unless playing with 2 players, in which case 2 of those tiles can be held. Adding more wedges to our Hydra pie suddenly changes the tracks in the game, which is a great way to improve your own fortunes or make those of your opponents a bit harder. This little boat icon adds 3 to your movement for the turn, which again is not optional, but this is usually a good thing because getting around this wicked whirlpool of wickedness is the name of the game, so you want to move as fast as possible in most cases. And finally, if you come across this lightning bolt icon, you will draw a Favor of the Gods card. Players can draw no more than 2 of these cards on a turn, and these are resolved at the end of a player's movement. They offer immediate or possibly ongoing effects and can either be harmful or helpful. Once a ship arrives at or passes the start tile, they will receive 1 fish, 1 wedge tile, and 1 favor of the gods card. When a player crosses this space the first time, their secondary ship moves to the next space on the lap tracker, and the second time a player crosses, we finish up the round to see which player has traveled the furthest, and that is who wins the race. The winner earns not only that sweet victory, but also a sopping dose of immortality. Personally, I love racing games, especially quick ones that don't kind of feel like everything is moving a little bit in slow motion, and that is exactly what Grease Lightning offers. However, the fast pace of the game does bring with it plenty of chaos and randomness. While that is something that I crave in my own games, it's definitely not for everyone, and it's good to know right up front. Most of my games of Grease Lightning have lasted less than 45 minutes, and some as little as 30 minutes, which makes it a great candidate for that kind of after dinner but before bedtime game for busy families. For a longer game night, this could be a great way to kick off your session, or perhaps as a gaming nightcap before you send everybody home. While Grease Lightning is a great fit for grown-ups like myself, there is a little bit too much going on to introduce it in its full form to my children. And given that the game is recommended for ages 12 and up, and my kids are ages 4 and 6, that makes pretty good sense. And that just about does it for our look at Grease Lightning. Again, if you like racing games, if you like fast games, if you like dice games, this is a game that checks all those boxes, and if those sound like appealing aspects of a game, you want to check this one out. Thank you to WizKids for sending us a copy of the game, making this video possible. And wow, Milo is here. Hi, Milo.
I am here. Hello.
It's amazing that you're back here with LittleBigThumbs. For those of you who are not longtime viewers of the channel, Milo has been a part of many of our videos, but not for a long time. And Milo's here to help us find out who has won our Catapult Feud giveaway contest. So, Milo, if you would like to do the honors, reach into the juice jug.
All right. This one right here.
Oh.
Let's see who we got.
Nicholas Bruyette. I hope I said your name right. Congratulations! You've won the Catapult Feud bundle. Thank you all. Thank you, Nicholas, and thank you everybody for entering that contest. It was a joy to interact with everyone in the comments of that top 10 video. Nicholas will be in touch to arrange how to get that bundle to you from Vesuvius Media. And yeah, that's it. That's it. So until next time, whether you've got little players or big players, make sure that you're playing games that make your thumbs go way up. Bye for now.
Bye.